Most ancient fairy tales contain great magic. They aren't merely stories for entertainment, at least not for us. They are living spells, and they carry wisdom passed down through generations. The Brothers Grimm shared a lesser-known fairy tale called The Star Money. I have a recent blog post that goes through this as well. This story, The Star Money, holds a powerful formula for prosperity. Using this fairy tale as a spell activates the sacred abundance that flows into our lives when we live from our hearts. The story tells of a poor orphan girl who has nothing. She gives away her last piece of bread, then her hat, and finally her last possession, her shift. Standing in the forest with nothing left to give, stardust begins to fall from the heavens, and as it touches the ground at her feet, it is transformed into shining silver coins, making her very wealthy. Instead of seeing this story as mere fantasy, we can recognize that it is a map of spiritual law. It's a blueprint for how generosity and heart-centered action creates a powerful vortex that automatically draws abundance directly to us. Instead of just passively reading this fairy tale, you can use it actively as magic. You can let this ancient tale guide you to prosperity using a simple 2-step ritual. First, you will read the story out loud. Then you will go back through the story and contemplate its symbols and consider how they can be applied to your own life. If you've ever worked psalm magic, you will likely recognize this fundamental magical formula. The ritual, like I said, is 2 steps. The first step is reading the story out loud. You can find the full text of the story in my blog article. Why do we read the story out loud? The spoken word carries vibration. When you give voice to the story, you're doing more than just reciting words. You're breathing life into an ancient archetypal pattern. You're calling forth the energy of selfless giving, of trust, and of miraculous return. Your voice becomes the very bridge between the symbolic realms and tangible reality. When you work this spell, consider creating first a simple ritual space. Light a candle, burn some incense, or simply spray some perfume or flower water into the air. As you read the story, you may consider holding on to a coin or a crystal in your hand to anchor the spell. While reciting, allow yourself to feel the rhythm and power of the tale as it's read out loud. Notice where your voice naturally rises and falls, emphasizing specific passages for you. These are the places of the tale where the spell is speaking directly to your soul. Here is how the Star Money tale goes. Once upon a time, there was a poor but good-hearted orphan girl who had nothing in the world but the clothes on her back and a single small loaf of bread given to her by a kind soul. With her small treasure, she set off into the countryside, trusting that fate would guide her. It wasn't long before she met a hungry beggar on the road. "Please," he said, "I'm so hungry." Without a second thought, the girl gave him her loaf of bread. Continuing, she came across a small child shivering in the cold. "I'm so cold," he cried. The girl gave him her winter hat. As twilight fell, she wandered into a forest. There she saw yet another child who had no clothes at all and was begging for some help. "It's dark now, and no one can see me," thought the orphan girl, so she gave away her last piece of clothing, her shift. And there she stood in the middle of the forest with nothing at all. As she looked up at the night sky, a miracle happened. The stars began to fall from the heavens, tumbling down to earth around her feet. But they weren't stars as they hit the ground. They turned into shiny silver coins. At that very exact moment, she found herself clothed in a brand new dress made of the finest soft linen. And so this little orphan girl who had given everything she had away was now rich, and she lived happily ever after. After reading the story, step 2 is that you sit quietly. You can hold your coin or crystal in your hand and reflect on the orphan girl's journey, letting her story settle in your heart. What does it mean for you right now? Ask yourself, what are you called to give? True gifts, you realize, are always acts of kindness, generosity, or the easing of some burden. Listening to your inner voice, be guided. Authentic giving always feels wonderful, joyful, fulfilling. Think of the girl in the story. She gave from her heart, not out of obligation. Begin to notice the difference between acting from the heart or acting out of fear. Your heart always knows the way. Always pause and feel into your decisions. Does giving bring a sense of rightness and openness, or does it feel tight, full of hesitation and the need to justify? The story reminds you that true prosperity comes from circulation, not from holding on tightly. Giving creates a space that the universe flows to fill. Begin to examine your own relationship with abundance. Are you holding back your gifts, your time, your money, your talents, your compassion because of fear? Think of the orphan girl who gave everything she had, and then the stars fell around her, turning into coins. How to fully receive is to first empty yourself. You can close your eyes and imagine yourself as this little orphan child. Feel her journey, the courage to give, the vulnerability of having nothing left, and the awe as the stars start to fall, lighting up her world. Holding the coin or crystal in your hand, let this energy align with yours. See that coin or crystal transforming and multiplying into the prosperity that you desire, surrounded by shimmering stardust. This glimmering stardust is also known to us as Shekinah, the divine substance of all creation. It's the magic dust of spirit, the primal spiritual substance that holds the power to manifest any form of abundance we need or desire, be it love, money, health, guidance. This sacred energy flows through the universe, connecting all things, and it always aligns with our intentions. It is through giving and generosity that we activate and amplify this flow of divine substance, allowing it to circulate freely and return to us in ways that fulfill our deepest needs and dreams. Holding on to that coin or crystal, say something such as I give freely, so abundance flows freely to me. I trust in its return. The image of shimmering, glittering stardust expands in your mind, filling you with light and abundance. Finally, you place this coin or crystal in your wallet or some secure place in your home, knowing that the spell is now deeply embedded in your mind. Then you decide on your offering. It should always be something that feels important to you, but never a strain. You might donate to an organization that you believe in, or offer your skills to someone who needs them, or simply give your full attention to someone who feels overlooked or alone. Always let your heart guide you, not your head. Ask for clear signs of where to direct your gift. Just like in the story, the answers as to where and how and what to give will always be obvious to you. For this spell, you'll need to provide 3 separate offerings in total, just as the orphan gave 3 gifts. You'll make 3 acts of giving in all. This is how you lay the groundwork for the abundance you wish to receive. This next step can feel challenging, yet it's the most crucial step of all, and that is to give without expecting anything in return. Give without keeping score. Give simply because it feels right in your heart. The spell is broken when you give with conditions, as it thrives on letting go, not on attempting to control the outcome. If giving doesn't feel wonderful, then don't do it. The key to this spell is the joyous feeling that only giving can produce. Without this feeling, the spell will not work. Then you must be patient and attentive. Remember that little orphan girl? Her blessings didn't manifest right after she gave each of her gifts. In fact, she seemed to have lost everything after showing such complete compassion. In the same way, the abundance you seek may not show up in the way or at the time that you expect. To allow this process to work, you have to let go of obsessing over specific results. Looking for proof will only push it away. Yet at the same time, you must keep a gentle watch. It's important not to miss the signs, the synchronicities, the surprising chances, the gifts that come from unexpected places. Often when our spells manifest, we don't recognize that they have already manifested at first. So make it a habit to reflect on your life and be thankful for what you have. What this does is it helps you be aware of the gifts that are coming into your life so that you don't miss them. Begin a practice of reflection and rhythm. I always think it's a good idea to keep a journal, to notice the flow of generosity in your life. You can write down each gift that you give and how it made you feel. And also note down the moments when the abundance appears around you, even in small ways that you might otherwise miss. Keeping this journal isn't about keeping score. It's about learning to appreciate the blessings and the opportunities that come your way that we frequently miss. Think about the simple pleasure of a friend buying you coffee or maybe getting perfectly timed advice. Maybe a bill came in and it was a lot smaller than normal. Maybe you received an unforeseen bit of money or a big windfall. Maybe it was a new job or a brilliant idea for a business that suddenly inspires you to take action. All of these are examples of your own falling stars or stardust, powerful signs of universal abundance, no matter how big or small they seem. The fear of lack fades away the moment you open yourself to receive. Acting from the heart, guided by compassion rather than calculation, creates a profound sense of abundance in your life. This isn't only about material wealth, although money always tends to flow from casting this spell, but it's really about realizing your connection to a generous and ever-giving universe. By giving generously, giving freely, and trusting in the flow of life, you step into a reality where all your needs are met, just like the coins falling from the sky to prosper the generous girl. The universe is always in a state of giving. The stars shine endlessly, whether or not we see them. Your role isn't to create abundance. Your role is to align with abundance. Giving opens the flow, clearing away fear, scarcity, and doubt. It allows you to receive. Open your hands, open your mind, and open your heart to trust. This practice can transform your world into a reflection of infinite generosity surrounding you, just like a starlit sky. Now is your chance to experience this prosperity for yourself. Try the ritual of the star money. Read the story aloud, take time to reflect on it, and imagine the power of giving as it lights up your life. Choose 3 heartfelt offerings and watch how the universe responds. What's most important about this story is the reassurance that we are always provided for and that our receiving an endless supply of abundance is just one gift away. Opening our hearts and giving freely because it feels right, and the joy of giving being its own reward opens the floodgates for all the prosperity we could ever desire or require. Thank you so much for joining me in discovering the power of this particular prosperity spell. If it resonated with you, give it a try. May material and spiritual prosperity flow to you as naturally as the light of the stars. May the abundance of Shekinah be with you now and always. Blessed be.